What do you think of this group of people who thinks this is an issue and make a big issue out of it and take this big issue against another person, neglecting or taking for granted that there's another issue, and this another issue is the bigger issue, and it's the real issue because it is the heart of the issue. And when they were confronted with this other issue, which is the real issue, they've reacted negatively to the real issue. So what is the issue? Well, don't mind if you did not get that one. I could not repeat that, yeah. But that is, this group of people is called blind guides. That is what the gospel is all about. You see, a group of people who will make an issue out of the washing of hands because the disciples of Jesus did not wash their hands. And these are customary rituals, practices that have entered the practice of religion. It has become a religious practice. And the scribes and Pharisees take that and make an issue out of it against Jesus. And Jesus recognizes, being a Jew, the importance of that. I think everyone knows that, certain practices, but that is not the real issue. Jesus confronted them, which is something deeper, and they should pay attention to, and that is what comes out of the mouth. If you read further in the same chapter, chapter 15, after a few verses, Jesus would explain what that means to his disciples about what comes out of the heart that makes a person unclean. And that's why you cannot just limit it or focus on that customary washing of hands. And Jesus would enumerate evil thoughts, murder, theft. These are the things that make a person unclean. What comes out of the mouth comes from the heart. And when the heart is sinful, these are the things that come out of us. That is the one that we should pay attention to. And that is why you become a blind guide. A blind guide when you direct people to this, when this should be, when the other is supposed to be the direction. When you direct people and make this more important than what is really important and what makes the person as it is, what's in his heart and what comes out of that heart. So those are blind guides. Now, what do you think of these people who recognizes that there are issues in life? Some are just minor things. They have their own value and yet focuses on the real issue, the heart of the issue, because the issue is the heart, our heart, and pays attention to it and addresses it. This one is the opposite. The other one are blind guides. This is shepherd of souls. And providentially and beautifully, today we celebrate the memorial of S.John Vianney, considered patron saint of parish priest. And he is known as, I would say, a shepherd of souls, because during his time, I think after the French Revolution, and the church was badly affected and the people are left in ignorance of the faith, so he focused on instructing the people, and especially giving good homilies, and spent so many hours for confession, for hearing confessions of people. And if we are to follow the accounts, in winter season, around 10 to 11 hours in confession. And at the peak, like good weather, summer, maybe 16 to 18 hours. Wow, I don't know if you can imagine that as a priest who sits in confession. I remember during Holy Week in the Philippines, we have to take several slots in a day, but distributed. Every slot is 1.5 hours. And the reason is maybe that's where you can keep your effectivity and your attention. But 3 hours, it's not just about talking, but listening to the people, maybe assessing, evaluating the state of their souls, and addressing each one like a shepherd, guiding. 10 hours, 11, 16, 18 hours. No wonder he's the same. And the parish where he was assigned was actually very small and far. At the beginning, I think there were only a couple of hundreds, maybe 200 plus. But later on, towards the end, last few years of his life, thousands of people would visit and come just to listen to him, talk to him, receive the sacrament of confession. That's S.John Vianney, a shepherd of souls. Well, let me end with a very small thing. At this time when most of us are attending the live stream masses, I'm sure by this time, if you've been following us, you are already very familiar with what's going on in the altar. Because after the prayers of the faithful, we have the preparation of the gifts, of the bread and the wine. And I'm sure you have noticed, after the preparation of the bread and wine, the priest goes to the side and washes his hands. You see? There's also that ritual of washing of hands. But when you look at it, it's so quick. Some would just dip like that. Some would dip. Some very quick. Is that really washing of hands? I think it's more of yes, it has its own value. It made cleaning the hands, but more than that, when priests do that, we pray, Lord, wash away my iniquities and cleanse me from my sin. So it's more than the washing of the hands, something deeper than that, something that aligns with what the gospel is telling us. And the same thing at the beginning of the Mass, from the very beginning, we ask for forgiveness, we ask for God's mercy, and we even strike our breasts, maybe to refer to something deeper and our sincerity about it. So there is a customary washing of hands and that happens immediately before this part of the celebration of the Eucharist, the second part. And then next to the water, you see the sanitizer. That's not part of the Mass. That's only for this pandemic, no? So that one is really for the hands, no? When I use the sanitizer, I don't say, Lord, sanitize my heart. No, I do not say that. That's really, Lord, clean my hands and protect us from this virus. But that customary washing, we say, Lord, wash away my iniquities and cleanse me from my sin.